Sarah Harris, Vice Chairwoman, Ken Davidson, and former Chairman Mark Brown make up the rest. Gas prices in Rhode Island remain the same for the third consecutive week, but the impact of Hurricane Ida may bring an increase in prices soon. A survey by AAA Northeast on Monday found self-serve regular unleaded averaging $3.06 per gallon. The state's average gas price remains 9 cents lower than the national average of $3.15.
The managing director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
Our good pal Tony D joining us. You know, Tony, I just can't shake being angry about what's happened here in the last week, month, year. But anyway, welcome to the show. Thank you, as always, for being a part of it.
Good morning, and proud to be among everybody. Yeah, we were talking about that. It's like right and wrong doesn't matter anymore at all.
Yeah, you made a great comment off the air, and I want you to, if you can't share it with everybody, you said, you know, literally that's exactly what you just said to me. Right and wrong just doesn't matter. We've lost that.
Doesn't matter. And the thing is, I mean, when you look at what happened yesterday, and it's this whole new standard of government or governance or just, you know, the way things are run. And, you know, we're going to talk more specifically about Governor Ned Lamont's puppet world constitutional state of decay. But the biggest thing is that I'm right. You know, I'm in government. I'm right. And this is the way it is. And you people don't know what you're talking about. It's really this whole thing of, you know, the apple, like being a state like this doesn't fall far from a tree like Biden. And once again, the private citizen is always paying for the screw-ups and arrogance of government, while government really doesn't care. I would like to make mention of something. On August 25th, there was the Cheshire mask incident, or what was called a mask incident. It was actually a protest where parents had revolted on Ned and his associated minions. Now, we know about the incident. We know what happened. There's no need to recount. But since that event, and this is the whole thing about right and wrong, the parents that took part in that protest, they've been the subject of shame and ridicule and condescension by, you know, the $72 million spun state-run media and just about every Lamont favorable print source. And considering all these events, Lee Elci, considering everything here, now I'm not condoning violence or obscenity. I don't think that's a solution for anything. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, even those of the state of Connecticut, if you can believe it. But I came to one conclusion over the week, and actually my good pal Bob Swick wrote a terrific article about this on Saturday. You know something? Your mama didn't lie to you. And your mama used to tell things like, you know, honest work for honest pay, be helpful to your fellow man, be polite, self-sufficient, you know, pray, believe. Now, today, these parents are there. They've got no voice. No one is listening to them, and they're being told about critical race theory, gender change before puberty, race superiority, and mask wearing. And, you know, it's like, well, this is the way it is, and, you know, you're nothing but a cretinous goon, and you have absolutely no say whatsoever. You know, no one, again, looks at a statistic. I mean, the death rate in Connecticut for COVID, which of course is attributed, accelerated on steroids, is somewhere between 0.07% to 0.21%, depending on wherever you want. I mean, the Hong Kong flu in '68 was much, much worse. Now, the anger that we're seeing in these people, again, I don't condone any of the wild stuff. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But it's a lot more than masks, folks. It is, we're teaching children how not to deal with things. We're stunting their cognitive development in a ruling class that just doesn't care. People have just had enough. They're looking for a dialogue. Nobody's giving it to them. And honestly, you know, what little I can do here, if I can do something, that's just the way it is. It's just not right when we're not having, you know, an open dialogue as to the development of children. I don't want to see 20 years from now. I don't want to see what happens to these kids and what they're like. I mean, you know, part of me doesn't want to sit around to deal with it, but your ball, my friend.
Well, I mean, I think you're exactly right on so many accounts with your breakdown there. And parents have the best sort of plugged in idea of where their kids are, right? They know how they're feeling. They know what they're doing. They know how. Well, they know how the masks are affecting them negatively, not being able to see their friends' smiles on their face, not getting any kind of emotional feedback. On top of that, you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide for 8 hours at a time. You're creating this. I don't even know how you want to quantify it, but if I were those parents, I'd be mad as hell too. I would and demand answers. And plus, Tony, it also gets to that point where people are tired of being told what to do. They're tired of being demanded and mandated and say this is what you have to do because this is what we say is right. As you had said in the beginning, just because they say it's right doesn't necessarily make it so.
Well, and how dare you question them? And this is the thing, and I say this, I don't care, it's the truth. We have a terrible racial problem in Connecticut. There are two races. Those people in government that dictate to the rest of us and the rest of us, those are your two races. The government race, so to speak, Lee Elci, has absolutely no idea. I mean, I have some personal vindication here after 40 years. People are seeing what it's like to sit across from government and deal with them. They get to throw whatever they want with you. They leave at 4:30. They get these incredible, pensions and things and days off and all this other kind of stuff. And you've got to sit there at midnight and deal with their messes and protect your poor folks from getting hurt by them. That's just the way it is. And I'd love to have some of them come here for one day and one morning and see what it's like. They would be running out of here crying and screaming. It's absolutely unbelievable. And the other thing is, just to mention, a number of political figures have been on the show and have talked about it. I've heard faint, acknowledgement. I've heard condescension. What you're seeing here, folks, like it or not, is the beginning of a revolution. People have had enough, and revolutions are not pretty. And who are they revolting against? Guess what? The political class. And it's the kind of thing that, and this is the thing that actually kind of baffles my poor little pea brain. If this were 1773, and people had come into the Boston Harbor and started dumping tea, we'd have a political class of Connecticut saying, what are you wasting that good tea for? Let's heat some water.
You're right.
It's absolutely
You're
unbelievable.
Right.
How stupid could you be?
Well, let me ask you this question. What's it going to take, Tony? Because we've gone through now a potentially crooked election, slanted if you want, or however you want to spin it. Now here we are staring at these mask mandate. You've got to get your shot, blah, blah, blah. But what's it going to take for the American people to say enough is enough? I'm curious about that. I've been talking about this for a long time because I thought January 6th.
I really do. I think it comes down to people saying, we ain't going to take no more of this stuff, and, you're going to have to make us, and you can't. And again, where I don't condone violence and obscenity, the fact that these people said, no, this is terrible. Right. We want our voices to be heard. You need more of that. You need a lot more of it in the right context, but they just can't keep getting away with it.
And they're made the parents are made out to be these knuckle dragging Neanderthals who don't know anything about anything, and that is such a wrong slant to take on this. I hate when they do that. I can't because I'm not an anti-vaxxer, and I never have been. I'm an anti. Don't tell me what to do in situations similar to this. I'll make my own decisions. My decisions don't affect you. And during the course of this whole COVID thing, Tony, and you know this as well as anybody, the story and the narrative has changed every time to fit that little moniker that they wanted it to fit.
What are we going to spend today, guys?
Yep.
What are we going to feed the masses? Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I am on that. But,
exactly. And, before we run out of time, and the thing is, of course, the Connecticut way has always been, we know better than you, you don't know anything, and, it's just kind of do whatever in the heck you want, but we still know better than you, and we're going to impose our will. You'd mentioned yesterday about this, the local health directors, the doctors and the nurses, now by executive order of the governor who pretty much can make his own laws, Executive Order 13C can make anybody see your vaccination records. And, we're starting, somebody woke up a couple people in the political class and said, hey, I really don't like this. Oh, yeah, that's really not good. Take a moment here to see what happened, people. And if you read this article, the one that you were referring to yesterday, the professor at UConn is saying that a state health department is not a covered entity. Go read the law. Okay, go read the law. Stop telling people what is not in the law, because you're getting paid by the state and this is what you want to do. But your incompetent, data deficient, security risk state just gave a whole bunch of faceless, feckless bureaucrats all your information. These are people, a lot of them, I wouldn't let them wash my 13-year-old car with soft soap and a sponge. That's what's going on here. Yeah. And there is no political outrage. So one thing that the political class will not tell you, there is an opt-out for this. And I mean, people need to opt out by the thousands in droves. It is time to send a message to this. They cannot keep doing this to us over and over and over again. We've never been that way in the state. We've always taken what our elected officials did it, but look at where it's getting us. It's like, look at where it's getting us. Yeah. It's absolutely, I mean, I went off on somebody yesterday because they were like talking about it, was a member of the Republican Party. I said, well, where were you when the lights went out with Boston Consulting? Not one of you said a word.
Nothing.
Entirely stole our identities. And, it's like now you want to say, okay, we're getting into this ball game. I mean, it's the Connecticut way. It needs to stop. It needs to stop now. And still not violently, but it needs to stop.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the, when is that going to happen? When is that anvil going to hit the hammer? Anyway, we got to go. I'm out of time, but thank you as always, buddy. You're the best. I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
All right, Tony D. Making a difference here every Tuesday morning. Love chatting with him.